Oh, he's turning way back there. Ugh. Let's see if we can get anybody on here tonight. What time is it anyway? 9:40. Jeez, that took longer than it's supposed to. This is where my GPS freaks out because the roads are different than they were when they built the GPS, apparently. Let's see if anybody's bored tonight. On a Saturday, of all things. Radio. It's 44 degrees, but we are heading south. Like I said, give this a few minutes and see if anybody's bored out of their skull. This whole area. Now, the one great advantage of driving in the rain in the Northeast is when they have snow, these commies pour salt on the snow, and then you get salt on your vehicle, and then it rust your vehicle out unless you can successfully rinse it off. Oh, I got one. I got the first board person. Ha-ha! And they're gone. That was quick. All right. Never mind. I will start over again. All right. Yeah, I know. I got to go this way. Yes, this is the great advantage of driving in the rain is you de-salt all those cracks and corners under the van. That's important. Now, I got a whole lot of nobody on here, so let me give this a few more minutes, and if nothing happens, I'll go ahead and throw in the towel. Stop. The way these CB radios work is when there's another radio in the area, they have a tendency to freak out. Alright, let's see. 465. That's in front of us. Hold on here just a minute. Alright, we'll start off. One of the problems of being an expediter when you're on the road is the weekends. Weekends are terrible for this job. Unless you get a weekend run, like you pick up something on a Friday and it's got a Monday delivery so you can stroll at your leisure. Well, this is a 3-day weekend, so the horrors of being stuck for 3 days with nothing to do is heavy on the soul. But I didn't get a run on Friday, and it was kind of a bummer. But yet today they called me and they said, hey, we have a short one for you. It's 8 miles. And I normally don't talk about money, but I got paid $200 to drive 5 little boxes, 8 miles. Let's see here. How do I get on? Hold on a second. I'm reading the signs here. West. The GPS is telling me one thing, and the roads have been redesigned, so it's telling me something else. Hold on a second here. That's northeast, west. Am I right here? Hold on. I'll be back in a second here. Oh, red light. And what happened was I was sitting south of Indianapolis at a truck stop, and they called me and they said, hey, this is a load coming in, and they gave me the address, and I looked at it, and it was the Indianapolis airport. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. So I dialed up the address, and it was an FBO, and you have the terminal building where the big planes go, and then you have what's called an FBO, a fixed-based operator. That's where the little planes go. And then you have these one specialty places for the rich folks. We're talking about the private jets and all that stuff. And I've actually flown out of those. So the particular one that I was going to, and there's a video on my playlist if you take a look at it. It's called Million Air, 2 words. Okay, I'm sorry, I gotta read my GPS here. Sorry, hold on a sec. 270 St. Louis. Okay, so I went in and I know the game because, like I said, I was a pilot for 35 years. So instead of going for a 5 o'clock pickup, I got there at like 11:30 because those really nice FBOs, the ones for the private jets, the ones for the movers and the shakers, are absolutely gorgeous. They are beautiful setups, and they have lounges, and they have food, snack foods. And if you go into my playlists, I made 2 videos. One was called The Ultimate Lounge, and then I discovered there was another lounge next to it, so that one's called Ultimate Lounge Part 2. It actually had a theater room, like a movie theater, and there was nobody in there but me. So if you go into my last 2 videos I posted, the Ultimate Lounge and the Ultimate Lounge Part 2, because I really didn't see the second one till later. So I spent 5 hours hiding out at the airport, eating their food, hanging out, watching. Oh, I watched Raiders of the Lost Ark, if anybody's interested, because I had hours to burn. So I got this little short weekend run, which made me happy. Hold on here, gotta get on the highway. Alrighty. Hold on, coming over. And I went I dropped off, it was, like I said, it was an 8-mile hop. I dropped off and I drove exactly 2 miles down the road, which was where the pilot was, and I got set up and I put my curtains up and set the whole vehicle, and I was getting ready to jump in the shower, and the work calls me again and goes, hey, I got another one for you, which is unheard of. You don't get double loads. You don't get loads on the weekend, so you certainly don't get double loads. Well, I got a second run, and this one's going to a little town just the other side of Memphis, and it's in Mississippi, and for this industry, Mississippi is like Siberia, so nobody wants to go down to Mississippi. And they called me and they said, until we can find someone that'll take the load, we can't, accept it. So I said, make sure I'm getting paid for it. Well, it turns out, to get in the middle of Mississippi is like a death sentence, but my town that I'm going to is called Batesville, and it's just the other side of Memphis. So I'm still within the core area. And the pickup was the place I had just dropped off, 2 miles back up the road. I'm looking at the address going, did I just leave there? So then I turned around and went back, and I was waiting about an hour and a half for them to pack it up. But I just got on the road. This is going to be an all-nighter going back down to Batesville, Mississippi. And it looks like it's going to be raining most of the trip. And that could be annoying and loud. But I have some of the settings on my van. One of the switches is for slippery conditions and rain. I've got it set on that. But the one great advantage of driving at night is you're not dealing with traffic, the bumper-to-bumper traffic. So here in a while, this is going to thin out. There's going to be nothing out here. This says if I drive nonstop, I'll be there at 4 o'clock in the morning. When I'm going to get down here for a while, I'm probably going to pull in. I was actually waiting in line to jump in the shower at the truck stop. I had my number. I was waiting when they called. I had to cancel. So when I get down here, maybe, I don't know, around midnight when there's not a line, I will jump in the shower real quick and then keep on going because today's my day. But this weekend was starting off looking like it was going to be a long, drawn-out, very tiring setup, but it didn't happen, so this is good. I am quite happy that I got not only a load, but I got 2 loads, and they're both paying really well. So this is in my week, and I normally don't talk about finances with this, but for this week, so far, it looks like I'm grossing $3,000, which isn't bad for 7 days. Last night it got down in the 20s. Let's see, double, wait a minute. Move over one more. And I have my generator that I take. I use a generator in the summertime for the air conditioner when I'm sleeping in the van. But I have like a 7 or 8 inch square floor heater that I use. And I had the generator running last night, and I put the little floor heater down. And it made a big difference. Here we go. This is my turn. Anybody's, I'm not allowed to read what's going on. This YouTube rule. But if you're just joining in, I am in Indianapolis. I did an Indianapolis to Indianapolis run today. 70 east. No, west. I'm going west. That's right. Hold on. Yeah, they called me this morning, and it's Indianapolis to Indianapolis. I was, what's that, 8 miles, and I got paid $200 to carry 5 little boxes. 8 miles. That's okay. Yeah, I can do that all day. And like I said, I got to ride 2 miles down the road, and I got set up, and then they called me to go straight back to the exact same place, and now I have 6 little boxes. And I spent over 5 hours at the airport in the fancy schmancy terminal. And if you go back into my playlist, you'll see the lounge I was hanging out in, called the Ultimate Lounge. On my paperwork, it told me the tail number of the aircraft. It was being delivered by air, and I don't know what. I think they're aircraft components, but they actually provided the tail number, and the lady behind the counter could tell me, here's the flight. It's supposed to come in at this certain time. And I went on FlightAware, put in the tail number, and I found the aircraft in the sky, and I could literally watch it flying through Pennsylvania en route. If you see that light off the nose right there, it's going green and white. Boom, white, and then green. That's a civilian airport. If it's yellow, it's military. But green and white, that's a beacon right there. So I guess the airport's right here. I guess. Alright, I'm getting up to speed here. I just wanted to check in. I hadn't been on here recently. When I came and started working this last week, they had me running so hard that sleep was hard to come by. Now this sucks. I can't see the markings on the road. I think I'm in my lane. Yeah, I can't even see the markings. But I was running so much and so often and so long that I wasn't sleeping right. So a couple of days I think I skipped making videos. Mainly because I wasn't conscious enough and my brain wasn't working hard enough to do it. But I went to bed. I didn't have anything supposedly happening today, so I went to bed last night. I zonked out, and I woke up at 8:45 today, and I don't sleep that long. That's kind of a world record for me. Okay, St. Louis West. I'm sorry, I'm watching my GPS here. But this is Indy. We are southwest bound out of town, and at some point it's gonna give me like a couple 100 miles straight away here. It's a little over 500 miles to Batesville, Mississippi. Yeah, the FBOs. If you understand how the airport moves, you can get a lot of benefits hanging out at the airport. Like I said, they have the lounges. They also have food. And I went in the restroom, and there was a beautiful, beautiful restroom. Had a shower in the back, real fancy shower room. There was a little table behind the sink behind you that had combs and toothbrushes, toothpaste, all kinds of stuff. And then if you go to my playlist, there's the Ultimate, one called the Ultimate Lounge, and then Ultimate Lounge number 2. That was a whole separate. The number 1 was the movie room, the theater, and the other one was just a hangout area with more lounge chairs and fancy stuff. And there were 2 rooms in there with tinted windows that had chairs and blankets for like sleeping purposes. I guess that lane goes away. Okay, here we go. I'm on this one for 130 miles. All right, I can remember that. Ooh. That guy's in a hurry. Probably not the best conditions to be driving that fast. Alright, well I basically wanted to check in with everybody and let you know what was going on. This is, I'm going to get down there, deliver tomorrow, and go to sleep. I don't think anything's happening Sunday. Of course, I didn't think anything was happening today. But, we'll see what happens. And I'll just hold up down there. Monday, tomorrow, Sunday. Monday is President's Day. Some people look at that, some people don't. I don't know how that's going to affect me, but the town of Batesville has a Lugs, and that's where I'm going to go hide out. This was just a quick check-in, let everybody know what's going on. And again, as an expediter, you got to watch out for the weekends, and you really need to petition the court to get a weekend run. But I love where you pick up on a Friday and you got to be somewhere one day so you can do kind of a leisurely drive and or a long-range drive. That's how you do it. Because if you have nothing on Saturday and Sunday, it is time standstill, and that sucks when you're just sitting there doing nothing. It just stands still. Because you're not out here to socialize, you're out here to earn a living, and you got to keep moving. Wait, okay. Speed limit is 65, I'm doing 60, I'm going to bump it up a little bit here. Yeah, so like I said, this part of the United States, they use salt on the roads, and if you don't get the salt off your vehicle, it will rust out, and there are some ridiculously salty, rusty vehicles in this part of the country. So if I ever get in those conditions, as soon as I get out of it, I pressure wash my van, and I take the wand, and I get up under, whoa, wait a minute, I move over. I get up underneath it, and I spray as much as I can to the other side of the van and get the wheels, try to get it out, the door frames. But this right here, driving in the rain, this is what makes the difference. This is what gets in all the cracks and corners. So it's important to have this. Okay, so if you're just jumping here in Indianapolis, I am southwest bound on Interstate 70, and the next turn is on Highway Interstate 57, which will take me south to Memphis. So it's kind of a straight shot, and I love driving at night because of the lack of traffic mainly. But the rain's a little annoying, but the lack of traffic is my favorite part. All right, like I said, I don't have a lot to go on tonight. I'm a little flustered. I had some slowness going on this evening, but I may check in later if this calms down. I can see a little better because I know this affects the video. I'll catch up with you guys later.